Greetings. This is a recording I want to make. I'm going to play this by ear. I haven't pre-prepared anything for this. I want to play this by ear. What am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about astrology. A little bit about tarot. Not that I approve of it. A little bit about my faith in Baha'i and the faith of the early apostles of Christianity. But mainly I want to talk about sociology. So I pray you hear me out. And with that, just switch the camera around and let you see my face. And now I'm going to put a backing track on. It's one I rather like. So I'm going to put it on. So I'm not doing this in any particular order. Sociology. Or how do we see sociology? Now, when sociology was introduced, initially as an advanced level study, it was regarded as an easy way out. Easy compared to, say, mathematics or English language and literature. But it was anything but easy. It was regarded as a light subject. It was regarded as something that really didn't matter. Those that took it at A level were looked down upon. They were regarded as the lesser students. They were encouraged to look down on themselves, and the students of that higher subjects were encouraged to look down upon them. But now, in these 2020s, we are seeing that sociology is so important. And what is sociology? It is the study of how a society operates, how people relate to people on an individual level, in small group levels, and in large group levels and nation levels, and international levels, if we're going to take it that far. Why is it important? It's because relationship is the most important thing we can ever do in life. Isn't it? And does the politics matter? Does the war in Ukraine really matter to us in Britain? Come on, it's not coming over here. Okay, the refugees are. But Britain has always been welcoming to refugees. Why shouldn't we be now? We can take them in, so long as we're not asking for a Borg-like full assimilation into their becoming fully British. So long as they obey our basic rules, it's going to be okay. Now, we learned from the past, most immigrants to this country, whether they're West Indian, African, Indian, or Eastern European, tend to obey our simple rules. So I see no problem with immigration. And I see no problem with taking in refugees from Ukraine. Obviously, we want to avoid the ghetto situation where we get a whole lot of blacks in one area, or a whole lot of Indians in one house, or a whole lot of Eastern Europeans all in one street. We want to avoid the ghetto situation because that can cause problems. Okay, you know, it's okay because immigrants want to live with immigrants. It's understandable. But what we want to do is avoid the ghetto situation where immigrants are separated from white British. Or worse, white British feel ousted by a massive influx of immigrants of one particular sort into a particular neighbourhood. And that's an underlying cause of racism in this country. How do we prevent that? Well, I haven't got an answer. And that's for local government. It's not for central government. It's not for the Conservative Labour Party fight over Westminster. It's not for the House of Commons or House of Lords to decide this. It's for local government. The borough councils, the district councils, the county councils. They're the ones that are on the ground level and can decide this. But we must play our part by presenting our views to these councillors through our letter writing and our emails and our personal discussions with them down at their surgeries. Now, why is this so important? It's because in my country, in Great Britain, I call it Albion. I'm a poet. I use a poetic name. I call it Albion. I believe in Apple Land, Avalon. I believe in all sorts of strange, dreamy things. But we have always been the land of the poor. Britain has always been the land of the poor, the land of the refugee, the land of the outcast. Think of Robin of Sherwood, Robin Hood. Now, he was a criminal. He was an outlaw. He fought against the authorities and he was wanted for rebelling against the rightful king. But we regard him as a hero. Is Robin Hood not our hero? He is our hero. But he was an outlaw, a rebel. If you want to take it this far, he was a terrorist. He terrorised the Sheriff of Nottingham. He was a thief. He stole his deer. Yet we regard him as a local folk hero. I haven't even opened this bottle yet. Why on earth am I trying to drink out of it? Let's open it. It's like since 9/11. And I'm going to bring astrology into this soon, but at the moment we're political. It's like since 9/11 we've become terrorised by the concept of terrorism. All it takes is for one news report to say terrorist attack, and we all automatically assume it's a terrorist attack, and we've got to crack down on the terrorists. We've got to. It's our duty as great British people to crack down on these terrorists. And we don't even ask ourselves if they're really terrorists or not. Look at the current situation in Israel between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Now, the Israelis are being brutalized by the Israeli Defense Force. and other Israeli defense forces such as the police. And the mosque in the Holy Land, East Jerusalem, and also throughout the West Bank and Gaza. Why? Because the Palestinians are furious that the IDF shot an Al Jazeera journalist that had been reporting pretty legitimately and pretty accurately for something like 30 years in Palestine. They shot her. The IDF shot an innocent journalist. It may have been by accident. It may not have been. We don't know. The Israeli authorities have refused to conduct an investigation. The international community is now calling upon the Israelis to carry out an investigation. In the meantime, it's been referred to the International Criminal Court, but the International Criminal Court has yet to decide whether to hear the case. It's a cover-up. Meanwhile, on the West Bank especially, but also in Gaza, we see the possibility, I think it's the 4th, it could be the 5th, I'm not sure, I've lost count of how many intifadas there have been. We're looking at a possibility of a new intifada. Hence, we see all this violence in Israel, in the Holy Land, in Palestine, over the shooting of an innocent journalist. Who's in the right? Well, from my viewpoint, those objecting to the shooting of an innocent journalist are those that are in the right. Meanwhile, in Britain we see numerous protests about the terrible state of the British finances. The terrible, and I mean terrible, state of the average British family's pocket, by which I mean money. And the terrible societal breakdown we're seeing throughout the country. So what does astrology say? Well, from what I've said so far, you may think I'm building up to some great call for rebellion. You may think I'm building up some great call to arms. Indeed, that time may come in the future. But right now, right here, right now, what we need to do is calm down. We've got Mercury retrograde. Mercury is moving really slowly, backwards. Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is the one that carries the messages to and fro between us. Whatever star sign we belong to, whatever our ruling planet, Mercury is the one that carries the messages to and fro between us. And Mercury is moving really slow. Remember, Mercury, Hermes, is the one with the winged boots. He usually moves really fast through the air on his winged boots, carrying messages to and fro between the ruling planets and the constellations. And by now he's moving really slowly. So it's a sign that we also move slowly, for the messages are not getting through to us as quickly as they once did. We need to take time out to ponder and reflect. We need to take time out to maybe concentrate on our really close relationships, our family relationships, our close friendships, our inner circle of friendships, and rather than trying to outward spread. If you're a businessman, maybe it's time to focus on the central part of your business, not neglecting to bring in the finances, because money is important this time. But maybe it's time to trim. And maybe it's a time to sow rather than to tear. Maybe it's a time to gather stones rather than cast stones apart. Maybe it's a time for peace rather than for war. What do the spirits say? What do the spirits say? I hear from spirits. I hear from my dead mother sometimes. According to my faith of Christianity, it is impossible for a man or woman to hear from their deceased relatives. Yet I do. I don't know how God's permitted it, but I do. I know I do. I know her voice. I lived with her for so many years. I know her voice. No one could put on that voice. Not even a demon. There are two sorts. Let's keep it simple. There are two sorts of spirits. The angels and the demons. The angels and the demons. The angels are the good ones. Those that want good for you. Whatever the cost. Then there are the demons. Those that maybe think they want good for you, but actually they're under the control of the devil and can't produce good. And then there are the really nasty devils, like the strong man or Satan himself, or other ones like Beelzebub or Lucifer. Well, not Lucifer. Lucifer's a difficult one to comprehend. Lucifer is not a nasty devil. Lucifer is a good devil. Just a proud one. One that is fallen, but a good devil. But Beelzebub, Satan, bad devils. Don't mess with them. You want to mess with tarot? Even if you mess with astrology, you're opening yourself up to this darker side. You watch Stranger Things. Do you enjoy it? I've watched a bit of it on YouTube. Some of it I've enjoyed, some of it's freaked me out big time. You want to watch things like that? You're messing with the dark side. What do the spirits say? Well, the angels say, do not mess with the dark side. Remembering, where was it? Which episode was it in? Let's think. Was it the 4th or the 5th episode? I'm thinking of order production. I think it was in Attack of the Clones that the fall of Anakin really began, wasn't it? The second episode, the prequels, well, put down when they came out by the stalwarts of Star Wars. But actually, I quite like them. But it was in Attack of the Clones, I believe, that we really started to see the downfall of Anakin. When he listened to the devils. When he listened to the demons of the Force. Rather than the angelic beings who desired to control the Force. And then he was taken in by Sardinius. Or whatever his name was. You see, once you've been weakened through playing around with the darker side, you are vulnerable. You are then vulnerable to someone of a very crafty nature. A crafty nature. Coming and worming their way into your mind through concepts you've already considered due to your messing around with the dark side. And worming their way in and learning how to control you. That's how Anakin fell. And it's how a hell of a lot of people fall in real life today. And to sum up, we are living in perilous times. The Bible speaks of it, the Quran speaks of it, the Hindu scriptures speak of it, the African legends speak of it, and the Native American legends speak of it, and the Chinese legends speak of it. We are living in perilous times. And people are falling down, unable to get up again, left, right, and centre. People are completely destroying themselves for no good reason. And we look on and we wonder, why on earth are they doing this? It's perilous times. You see, Satan has fallen to earth and he's wandering around in the air, going to and fro upon the earth, seeking who he can devour, like a prowling lion, like a roaring lion. He's seeking who he can devour, and as soon as he finds someone vulnerable, he will devour them. He's been cast out of heaven. Previous to these perilous times, which roughly began sometime between 2000 and 2012, these perilous times began. Before then, he was in the second heaven, deceiving God, trying to deceive God as to the position of the saints, the accuser of the brethren, the accuser of the saints. But then Michael fought against him and cast him down to earth. Now he's come down to earth, so woe upon the inhabitants of the earth, but rejoice, O you inhabitants of heaven. Now Satan is devouring the inhabitants of the earth. So you need to learn how to defend yourselves, don't you? Against the wiles of the devil, his strong man, and his legion of demons. If you don't, you will come a cropper. And there is an ultimate punishment for not coming to your senses, mentioned in every holy book throughout the planet. Complete, utter damnation. And be warned. You want to mess with the satanic? The satanic will mess with you.